Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Mod Cons. How are we all doing?
Yeah, good. All good.
Hello. Very good.
Excellent, excellent. Everyone all refreshed from your Jubilee celebration starts today?
Yeah, I suppose it's been really nice and sunny today. It's been good. Been outside quite a lot today.
Always
getting
good.
Some fresh air and sun. Getting away from the games for a change and getting outside.
Outside bird. Excellent. So, episode 3. I thought we were on possibly episode 4, but definitely think we skipped it a month. So yeah, here we are, episode 3. There's going to be a few things to cover today because there's been a bit of a lax in getting the next episode up. So some of the topics we might whiz through a bit quicker than others so that we can keep it within our time frame. But yes, how are we all, Mr. Blunners? How are we doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. Looking forward to tomorrow. We're having a massive street party, and we got Bouncy Castle rocking up. So I mean, got a lot.
Excellent. Put out the start. I was thinking I need to come to Blunners.
Yeah. Keep the kids entertained. Get them out of the
way. Just keep throwing them in that and see how they go. Excellent.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tim, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. We went out a bit today. Went to the outdoor pool, and we're taking the kids to the theme park tomorrow. So I get to go on some roller coaster stuff. Then we've got a board games evening in the evening. Got a few friends coming around for board games. So
excellent.
Some gaming as well.
That sounds like a good start to me. Excellent. Okay, well, kicking it off with the first topic, as we always do, to go around the table and just see, what have you been playing? So what are you playing at the minute? If we start up at the top with Mr. Blunners, what have you been playing, mate?
Right, so I've been playing, Nintendo Switch Sports that just came out. I was part of the test fire team for that, like, testing the online. Me and my son actually got up at like 4 a.m. because that was one, like, it was on for 45 minutes at a time, and we tried it then, and I was already sold. It's literally like should, like, especially at Christmas time, push the sales on the Switch. Like, really, it should push it quite high.
Yeah.
Also, I've just started playing Red Dead Redemption 2 again.
Okay.
Recently, like, I've been talking to a few people about it and how I just never got around to finishing it, and I literally put the discs in the other night thinking, got a few days off, start playing it again, and then it took all night and I still wasn't playing it. So that's the one thing, like modern games, when you put your discs in and you have to wait so long for them to get updated.
Controversially, I still haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2 at all yet.
Oh, mate, you're in for a treat. It is good.
It's one of those games. The first one, yes.
Yeah, I played the first one. I played a little bit of the second one, but I mostly played online. So I had a few friends that were playing it, which is like the online play quite a bit.
Yeah,
but I haven't played through the whole campaign of Red Dead 2.
I
don't think I've ever spoken to anyone that hasn't rated it really highly. Like, everyone I know that's played it just raves about it, says it's a really good game. So definitely should be worth a try.
Ryan was going on about it the other day, and I thought, I do need to get back in and finish it. I've also picked up Cyberpunk. I picked that up for a tenner. So I've put, I know, a marketplace on Facebook. Do you know what I mean? So I've put a couple of hours into that, but I've just put that on the side at the minute. And also, I've just picked this little thing up as well, which I wanted to show off. I know, one of these Chinese little mini handhelds, but comes in its own little carry case. Opens up to Miu Mini 2. And this is literally just, I can leave it, I can chuck it in the car, and just when I'm out and about, if I just want to play a bit of Mario on the old Game Boy or something like that, it's just there to play, really.
Nice.
I brought it when we went out the other week, just because I literally got it that day, and I was like, he turned up, the postman turned up, I wasn't expecting it, turned up, and I was like, oh, amazing, and it was like, I've got to meet Ryan at the train, so I thought, you know what, I'll just take it with me. Chucked it in my pocket, and we all had a quick go while we were at the pub and that. So it's really good.
Yeah, I have to say the screen's really impressive on that. It's a really nice, bright screen. It's like and it's quite little, but it's quite a sharp image. So it's a really good screen.
The image quality is very good on it. Yeah.
Very cool. Where did you pick that one from?
I got it on AliExpress. It's about between 40 and 50 quid. I can't remember the exact price, but it comes with its own case and just around a load of games. It's just literally chuck in the car, and if I'm out and about and bored or waiting for the missus, I can just play it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And that is actually a
I like it.
pocket console, isn't it? A lot of like handhelds, like, oh, it fits in your pocket. It doesn't really. But
Oh
that
yeah,
would
that,
actually
yeah.
fit in your pocket, wouldn't it? That would definitely fit in
So
your pocket.
just for comparison,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the size of
More.
it. So
more pocket sized than the Game Boy Pocket.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, very
Oh,
good.
and also,
Ah, your PSP Go.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. It's even smaller than
Yeah,
that as well.
really
And
good,
that's
yeah.
already quite a small system.
so yeah, smaller than that as well. So it's very small, but the screen on it is so it's so good, and the buttons are nice and clicky, and do you know what I mean? It's good. It's a really good little kit, I would say.
Nice.
It's got a load of games on there as well, isn't it? Roughly how many games does it have on there?
Don't know, mate. Thousands, but
Thousands. I know.
yeah,
Like, I think just on Mega Drive alone, there was like at least 800 and something when I looked at the list. So
yeah, and then Super Nintendo, Full Library, and do you know what I mean? Master System, NES, but it's just will depend on what you want for it, really. It says it goes up to PlayStation 1, but I went to play. I think there's only a couple of games on it, but I didn't really get it for that because it's not like it's not like I would say shoulder button-y kind of little mini consoles. Anything that it's got the shoulder buttons on the back. But I think anything that needs shoulder buttons, you're not really going to get. Just got your fingers are not going to be great. So I literally just got it for like just a bit of Game Boy, NES, and SNES basically.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I got it.
Excellent. And Mr. Tim, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a few different things actually. I started playing through Uncharted because I was either going to go BioShock or Uncharted. I did try a little bit of BioShock. I did the first bit, and I didn't get sort of immediately hooked on it. I think I might come back to it.
You absolutely must.
I will come back to it. I've downloaded it. I played the first little bit. I'll try a little bit of that. I'll try a little bit of Uncharted. And Uncharted, I kind of clicked with quite quickly. So I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through the first Uncharted. Love playing through the trilogy, so I'll continue to play through that. But I did have a little bit of an interruption because there's a good deal on. They had some retro deals on PlayStation Store, and I picked up Dark Cloud for like less than $5. I think it's like $4.99, something like that for Dark Cloud. Have you ever played Dark Cloud before? Are you familiar with that?
I have a very long time ago, but yes, it was a bit Zelda-y from what I remember. But I remember enjoying it a lot.
It's quite it's more fun than I remember actually. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. It's quite relaxing because it's very you clear a floor of a dungeon, you then do some stuff in the town, you restock all your stuff, you go back into the dungeon, you do it again. It's quite like just lather, rinse, repeat and go through, but you're not really putting a lot of thought into what you're doing. You're just like going into the dungeon, clearing it out, buying stuff, doing the same again. But yeah, it's quite a nice chill game actually, quite chilled. But yeah, I've also been playing Switch Sports. So I picked that up as well because I fancy giving it a go. I don't know. I find it's just okay. I'm not massively enthusiastic about it, just because there's only a handful. I know they're bringing out Golf, aren't they, later on in the year?
Yeah.
There's only a handful of games on there, and to be fair, it's quite responsive. Like the Switch controllers work really well on it. I was a bit dubious how well the Switch controllers would work compared to how the Wii controllers worked, but it's pretty good. So like bowling works fine on it, things like that. Comparatively to the other sports games you've got, it is pretty good. But there's 3 games that are just passing a ball over a net. You've got volleyball, you've got badminton, and you've got tennis. And although the mechanics of them are quite different, those 3 games feel quite the same. And you've got 3 games that are quite samey out of 6 games. And I also found like you get the leg strap for football. And it's just one like mini game within football where you actually use the leg strap to kick. It felt like that was it really worth adding a leg strap for that one game where you kick a ball? I don't know. I wasn't completely sold on it, to be honest, but it's not as expensive as like a new Switch game would normally be. I think it was only like £30, whereas like not most Switch games when they're brand new would be like between 40 and 45, aren't they? So
yeah,
for 30 quid, I thought it was all right, but don't think I was as impressed as I was hoping. So
I think you're going a
right.
bit too in depth thinking about it because it's not aimed at you. It's aimed at your nan. It's aimed at your kids. You know what I mean? It's not aimed at us.
I think
you know what I mean?
I will get
how I found
I will
it.
get used to it. Yeah, I think you're right in that it's not something I'm going to sit and play on my own for a while. It's something that's going to sit on the shelf, and then whenever we've got people around that want to play a game, we'll go, oh, anyone fancy Switch Sports? And you're going to get it out. So you'll probably get a lot of use out of it, but over time, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to play this game until I complete it. 'Cause you don't complete Switch Sports. So you just get out to play. I think I found the same with that 51 Worldwide Games. That gets a lot of use on my Switch, but I don't play it by myself. It's just the kind of game that I might get out every now and then if I've got company over. So yeah, I think we will. We'll get some good use out of it. I think. Yeah.
I think they're going for that. They're going for that PS4, aren't they? They're going for that PS4 titles like units sold. And I think they're now thinking, right, well, we've got like the hardcore groups because we're over 100. I think they're about 100 and something thousand. They're over quite a lot. They're now, do you know what I mean? They've just overtaken, I think, PS2? No, PS4, sorry. But anyway, it's up there. And I know that they're trying to.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's lacking something like. I know they've all got other boxing things on there, but the boxing on Wii Sports was really good. And then like the archery, like if Wii Sports Resort, which is the one that came with the click on Motion Plus thing they did, that had like frisbee. So I had frisbee golf and frisbee, and then I had archery. So like if I had archery, because you obviously got the two controllers already, to do like the drawback archery bow stuff, that would have been really cool. So if they'd added something like archery, boxing, like it feels like a very small game for what it is. You think there'd be a lot more to it. It's like 6 games.
Demo-y, isn't it? Demo-y,
yeah. The content that is in there is fine. Like nothing against the games that are in there. Like the volleyball game is actually really good. Like I know I sort of said, you got 3 games that are quite similar. That being said, they are good games. They're a lot of fun. But I just feel like there could have been a lot more content. So not really sort of dissing the content that's in the game. Just it's kind of lacking in content for me.
Yeah, you're right.
Excellent. So I finally finished Horizon 2 Forbidden West. I put aside. I stupidly, I think I said on the last one, I stupidly installed Elden Ring.
And
Horizon at the same time, and I was kind of jumping between the two. And then I put in a huge amount of hours into Elden Ring straight away, like 45. And I was like, right, I've put Horizon down at a point where I probably could just crack on and get it done. And the story for that game is top tier, I think. As always, there's always a twist in these sorts of games. The twist in the first one really was like a wow factor for me, and the new sort of story elements in this new one, they're really good. Like it's high concept sci-fi. I love it. It's so good. The ending sort of leaves it open again as the first one did, so I'm hoping they're going to do a third and kind of finish it off, complete it nicely. But yeah, that game was something else. It was so good. I know a few people haven't quite clicked with it, or there's just something that they're not kind of getting on board with it. But man, I just couldn't get enough of it. It was so good. You'd sort of go in thinking, right, let's just crack on with the story, and then I'd find myself doing 15 hours of side missions. You're like, oh man. And none of the side missions are particularly repetitive. Like in the first one, it was just go here, meet this person, collect that thing, bring it back to me. Thank you. Now go and do this thing. Whereas the side quests in this one were a little bit more varied. Yes, there were the go fetch quests, but there was always find the drones and download the data, and it was just so much more variety.
I think that makes or breaks a game like that, doesn't it? If you've got a variety in your side quests, you stay engaged in it. Whereas like some games you'll have like 3 variants of the same side quest, and after a while it's like, yeah, done with this.
Yeah,
it's good they've got a variation there.
It's on my list. It's on my list definitely, because I've managed to get the Game of the Year version of the first one.
Yeah.
Because I managed to get that for about £10 on eBay, just over about £12, and that's
really
with the
good.
DLC. Yeah, so I started playing that for a bit. I have kind of fallen off it. I do want to get back on, but I was saying I wanted to finish that and then go straight to the PS5 version. But
yeah, 100%. You have to play the first one to get a grip with. I mean, there's a recap at the beginning, but it's still it's not the same. No, it's not the same, and there is so much cool shit in that first game. So yeah, I'd highly recommend
it. It is really good. It is good.
Yeah,
I recently played the Horizon board game as well.
Excellent. Was that any good?
It's really good, actually. It's very good. It took a while to learn it. Or some of these things. You learn the board game, you start playing, then you run out of time, and it's like, I'll have to come back and do it another day. So it looks like you're going to need a long session to clear through the areas. But you get, it's like modular. So you put your modules out, and then you actually do the clear an area, and then I think it starts a new one. But you have the paths that the enemies go around, and the models for the all the creatures and stuff look really cool. So it's a good. yeah, good mechanics in it as well. You kind of level up your characters and stuff, and you have like new cards you gain when you level up to increase your weapons and that sort of thing. So yeah, some really good crafting mechanics in it.
Fantastic.
So it has the same sort of feel as the game, but as a tabletop game.
Cool.
Yeah, good.
And I'm now back on Elden Ring like a crack addict because now I don't have 2 massive open world games to be running through. So yeah, I'm now at a point where I sort of had to get back into that, get into the swing of how that played because it plays completely different to Horizon. And yeah, I'm just gonna throw it out there now. I genuinely think Elden Ring could be game of the year. It's so good.
I was about to say that because like everyone says it's like game of the year, and I'm really skeptical about them type of games because they piss me off and I just can't be bothered with them. And
It is challenging. It's got
yeah,
that From Software challenge, and it's got that sort of not steep learning curve like some of the other Soulsborne games have got, but it's very fair. And I must admit, all of the From Software games are very fair, but this one feels particularly fair in that when
right.
you die, yes, you might lose all the runes, which are like the equivalent of souls this time to level up, and you might have to go and collect them all again. But you don't lose your items. And I know in some of the games you can lose all your items or lose the items that you collected in that period. And the fact that you can, unless you're in a boss battle, when you go through the fog and then that's it, you're locked into the boss battle. If you're not in that particular room and you're just in an area and you're getting overwhelmed, like you can just hightail it out and just keep running until they're not anywhere near you, and then just regroup, start again. So I just can't get enough of it. It's so good and it's so satisfying when you finally beat that boss. It is the elation.
Everyone I've spoken to has said how good it is. So it is on my list. I will get on it eventually, but I was to say I've got so much else to play through. But
Yeah.
I said everyone says how good it is. So you're thinking like, I'm thinking like, I'm missing out. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? What am I missing out on?
It is a cracker. And I would have picked up before I went to Wales. I went into Game to try and pick up House of the Dead remake, the Limited edition.
Oh yeah.
But my local Game didn't have it.
No way.
I was like, it's out. It's definitely out. People are having it. Like Argos have got it, and they were like, yeah, sorry, we didn't get it in. I was like, okay, well, I'm going on holiday tomorrow anyway, so I'm not going to get to play it. I just kind of wanted to have it to come back to. So, got back from Wales yesterday, went into town this morning, just to do a few things. I was like, see if they got it in. They still haven't got it in. So I've just ordered it. No, I've just ordered it on Argos, so hopefully that I get a text tomorrow morning that say it's arrived, and I'll go and pick it up tomorrow. Same price. Like, oh man! So I'm looking forward to that because I like a bit of House of the Dead.
Yeah, me too.
Someone in the group. Did someone in the group put it on there? And like Tim, you asked how responsive the actual like Joy-Cons are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They
said
it's pretty good, I think.
Did Ali
get
it?
I think it was Nick, actually. I think Nick got it.
Nick,
okay.
Yeah, I think it was Nick. I think a couple of people actually posted that they've got it. So I can't remember which post it was I commented on. I think it might be Nick's, but yeah, he said it was fine. So
yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. It's a real arcade classic for me, that one. So yeah, I can't wait to get stuck into that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Wii one where they had 2 and 3.
Yeah.
In the dual boxes. What they did with that was very clever, actually. I don't know what the new one's done, because obviously the problem with a non-rail shooter in arcade, you can complete it in one sitting because you have to be able to complete it in one sitting anyway. And if you've got infinite coins, you're just going to complete it on your first try. And they did the thing where the first time you play it, they give you a limited number of lives. You play so far and die, and then you can play again, but this time it gives you more lives. So every time you finish a run, it gives you a few more lives.
Okay.
So then you're not going to finish it on your first go. It takes a few goes to get further each time. And then eventually you can complete it on enough lives. I thought that's quite a clever way of spreading out the gameplay a bit. Because otherwise you go, oh, this is fun. Sit down, complete it in an hour, and then you're done.
Yeah,
so I think they did that that was quite a clever way of spreading the gameplay out, I think.
Yeah. And then hopefully I'm going to get cracking with Martha is Dead as well, because it's there. It's looking at me. And I've literally ignored everything about it. I know a couple of the little bits that have caused all the hoo-ha, but I don't know the context of those particular scenes. So I am itching for a good horror game. And it's shocking that I've not put it in as a topic here when we talk about horror games. So maybe if we've got time, I'm going to throw a curveball topic at you both. Okay, so let's get cracking with first topic of this evening, which is something that dropped yesterday. I think it was yesterday, possibly early hours of this morning. And that is the Sonic Frontiers gameplay footage. So Sonic Frontiers was announced last year, I think it was, possibly very early this year. It's Sega's attempt at a Sonic open world game. The trailer made it look like it just made it look like a Sonic open world game. So I was kind of interested to see how this worked. They dropped some gameplay yesterday. I know IGN got a big exclusive with it, and were able to sort of demo 7 minutes of stuff. Have you both managed to see it?
Yeah, did take a look.
Yeah.
And what was the verdict?
He wants to take that first.
I'll go first if you want. To me, it was well, there's no enemies or anything in it, but it was very Sonic Dreamcasty, if you know what I mean. Very like more open. It looked a bit like they're trying to go to this open worldy kind of feel I got from it. Don't get me wrong, looks amazing. Everything about it just looks absolutely brilliant. But it's like, I don't know, Sonic to me, my personally is you just can't beat the 2D Sonic. You know what I mean? And I feel that kind of like the speed on it. So I don't know. It's something I want to have a look at. But yeah, it's a bit of for me.
I agree. Mr. Tim, how are you feeling? Because you're quite a Sonic fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm much more. I'm like Blunders. I prefer a 2D Sonic game over a 3D one. I'm not really a 3D Sonic game fan to begin with. I'll give him a try, but it seems a bit odd to me because in the trailer you got these fairly realistic open areas with like real trees, and then you got like the Sonic mechanic bits where he's bouncing around on stuff, and it felt quite janky. It's like you've taken some Sonic mechanics and chucked it in like a realistic game world. I don't really want to see Sonic running past realistic trees. I want to see him running past cartoony palm trees, and it's just, I don't know. It's the good thing about it, I would say, actually, is in the 3D Sonic games, it's hard to move fast, and the whole thing is you want Sonic to be running fast because Sonic the Hedgehog was always originally inspired by roller coasters. The whole thing, that's why we got the loops and the tracks and everything. Is meant to be like what's really fun and exciting, roller coasters. Let's make a game that's like a roller coaster. That's kind of where it all sort of spanned from. And it's great when there's these things where you're bouncing around and running around stuff, but then when it's open, it's so easy to fall off the edge and die because you're moving too quick. Having a huge open field, it would feel like you could finally let loose and just run fast as Sonic. I think that would probably be quite satisfying to play. I think that would be really good fun. So if it's done well, it could, really capitalize on that and make it a really fun experience. I think the big difference maker is going to be, what are the enemies going to be like? Because I think a lot of people are saying, is this actually the game or is this like a tech demo? Have they not added like the enemies in yet? Because it's very bare, isn't it? It's very stark. So if you chuck in some like really epic big boss battles with loads of cool sort of quick time events and things like that, you could have a really cool game in your hands. But I'll keep an eye on it, stay optimistic. But at first glance, I think my first reaction is just, why do we want a massive open world Sonic game? I don't know if there's been a huge demand for that. I'd much rather see more of, I'd follow up to Sonic Mania. I thought Sonic Mania was excellent.
Yeah,
I'm happy to see more of that rather than an open world Sonic game, but we'll see what it's like.
I would agree with pretty much everything you've both said. I really went in kind of hoping I would come away and be like, wow, like this is Sonic open world. This is exactly what we needed. And it's just void of anything. Like, it looks cool. Like the actual open world area looks cool, and I guess that's the great thing with having like a cartoony character like Sonic, is you can have, your open world look realistic enough to the point where maybe it doesn't look like hyper real. So you can, dial down the polygons and, make it look a little bit less like a, like Demon Souls or something. You can make it look much more cartoony, but saying you're inspired by the real world. It just, I like Blunder said, there's no enemies, so you're just sort of like, okay, so what do you do? What do you do other than run from point A to point B? Is there a map? Is there a marker? Is there going to be something, pointing you in a direction? Are the other characters in it? What is this world, and why is Sonic in it? Normally with a Sonic game, especially Sonic Mania, you load it up, it immediately starts, and you go, oh yeah, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to get from A to B. and there's a little bit of story in the middle ground, to just enough to make it a fun game. But Sega have been trying to crack. Sorry, dude, go on.
A good question here is, what engine are they using?
Yeah, I'm just looking it up actually.
Good shout. I don't know. I would imagine it's probably. I can't see them pumping it to Unreal 5.
Unreal 5.
Which I know everything's
everyone is.
Unreal 5 now. So I'd imagine that's probably been in development for a long time, unless they are going to transfer it. Because from what I gather, from what my son tells me anyway, is that I think if you're developing something in Unreal 4, you can kind of just open it in Unreal 5, and Unreal 5 will convert it for you. And you've got a better looking game on your hands. It might not look the best as if you developed it in Unreal 5, but it can convert it and make it look great, which is kind of cool.
That's brilliant.
I think a lot of it came from there's like some sort of fan game made in Unreal Engine.
There is.
A lot of people said it's kind of pushed for a lot of this to go. I think it's because there's like a real fan community around that sort of thing.
But that fan game, whilst it is cool, when you watch it, it's cool. You never at any point critique it for being like a AAA title, for example, because there's no enemies in that fan game, from what I remember, or if there are, they're very, very few. And it was just a guy saying, look, you could make a 3D Sonic game like this. I've done it, so here you go. And it is cool, but Sega just don't seem to be able to crack 3D Sonic like perfectly. It always comes back to being an element of 2D. So like Sonic Colors is really good fun, but it's almost on rail. You're behind Sonic the whole time. You're never really able to just run around the map completely. It's still go from point A to point B. You're just behind him as opposed to looking at the side of him, and then it flips to the side view for certain levels as well. The only truly 3D Sonic games that have ever worked are Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 for me, personally. And they're great. And they're still a bit on rail, but you've just got the open world bits in between the levels to have that 3D and Mario 64 type environment. And they've just not cracked it yet. They can't seem to.
It's hard to not immediately compare Sonic to Mario.
Of course,
even now you go, what's up this Sonic? You compare it to Mario. 3D Mario games, Mario 64, Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, Mario Odyssey,
Odyssey,
excellent game. So you compare a Sonic, a 3D Sonic game to that, it's no comparison, really, is it? It's just Mario's clearly cracked the 3D.
Yeah, but is the kicker because he has to go fast? Is that his biggest downfall?
Yeah, I think that is the problem. Because actually, even if you go back and play the original, there are some levels where you're running fast and you're doing the loops, and it's quite fast paced. But there's a whole bunch of sections in that game where you're standing on a platform, waiting for it to be safe, jumping across, avoiding a spike, and it's not a fast paced game, and it doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make those bad levels. Like those levels are still as good as the others. It just changes the pacing. But the whole brand is that he's really fast, isn't it? So you make a 3D game, you want to be able to do that dash forward and jump around. It just makes it. Like I said, I think the one I played quite a bit that I did like, but I found frustrating was Sonic Heroes, because you would do the speed boost button, but you just fall off the edge all the time, and it's just so annoying. So there'd be sometimes like you change because you'd switch between the characters, Knuckles and Tails and Sonic. You'd think you're controlling Knuckles, you get to punch something, you'd accidentally controlling Sonic, and then you'd run off the edge. The amount of times I did that, I was like, just suck the fat out of it. It's like, no, I'm just gonna rage quit on this thing. But I think you're right. I think it's because Sonic's meant to move really fast. It kind of spoils the 3D.
I kind of agree with what you said then, Tim. So if we take the idea that Sonic has to go fast, there's no but he just has to go fast, then you could have this huge open world expanse, and maybe this open world could just be almost like the world map. You get from point A to point B. There's these odd little things to do in it, and then go into like your standard Sonic Colors environments for like main levels or something. I don't know. I mean, who knows what they're planning?
Here we go. If Team Sonic see this, here's an idea. The storyline is Robotnik steals his speed, and the story of the game is he's trying to get his speed back. So throughout the whole game, he's not really fast. It's just a normal platformer, and at the end of the game, he wins his speed back, and then you have one fast level at the end. There you go. Problem solved.
Job done.
Sonic not fast. That would be an interesting one. I'd play that just to see what's going on.
We could call it Slow Sonic. There you go. The story writes itself.
Okay. So anyone that hasn't checked out Sonic Frontiers demos and gameplays and the trailers, like, do it. See what you think. I think everyone's going to be interested and see what happens. But cautiously optimistic, I think, is the phrase that I came away from it with. Right. Speedballing. as keeping with the Sonic Fast theme, onto the next next topic. Albeit, I think this will be a fairly short one because there's not a great deal to really run off, and that is Starfield being delayed until 2023. So I think this was going to be Xbox's really big, or is going to be Xbox's really big game. I think this is going to be a system seller. It's certainly sold the system to me. I was going to be picking up a Series X this year for 3 games, this being one of the big ones. But its delay has just made me think, I'll hold fire until this is ready to come out. For anyone that maybe isn't aware, Starfield is being developed by Bethesda, so it's got the the Elder Scrolls team behind it, and it's going to be this huge multi-world experience where you'll be able to sort of go from planet to planet, doing whatever it is that needs to be done. I think it's got that air of No Man's Sky, what No Man's Sky should have been or could have been, but with Bethesda behind it, and all the demos and trailers that they've shown, which isn't a lot, make it look really cool. But I think in this sort of day and age now, where big games like this, as soon as they announce, it's getting delayed, it's kind of almost like, I don't think anybody really expects anything less now. I don't know. It's
I think, as I said, ever since the Cyberpunk buggy gate, I think nobody wants a piece of that. Like that kind of
no.
all they get. No, they literally just. So I think now though, which is better, because I'd rather have a better game. Like same with like Breath of the Wild 2. I'd rather have a better quality game than something that's literally just thrown out the door. So.
I agree.
It does look really good, by the way. So.
Yeah, it's
yeah. I think developers just need to stop announcing stuff so soon, because I think delays happen.
Yeah.
Right, if something needs delayed to get out at a better quality, then yeah, absolutely, it should get done just to get the good quality game coming out at the end. So I think they just need to not announce things so early, because there's so many games like you hear about it and you're waiting like years, like 2-3 years for the game to come out, and then it gets delayed, and then you're annoyed. It's like if it had been announced like 6 months and it gets delayed another 6, I don't think you're going to be as annoyed. Like, a lot of these games get announced so early, and it gets so much hype, and then it gets delayed for like an extra year or something, and everyone's really annoyed about it. I think they just need to adjust their time frames, I think, a bit on how soon they announce stuff.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, the big one for me that did that was, do you remember when Watch Dogs was first announced? It was still during the PS3 360 era, and Watch Dogs was announced. I think it might have even been at E3, and it was like, oh my god, have you seen how good this game looks? The graphics are insane. Oh my god. And then it just took until PS4 to come out, and it was just, I think everyone by that point was like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And it was a shame because Watch Dogs is a great game. Yeah, Crackdown 2. Yeah.
Like you said, like at least with sometimes, at least with like, I keep saying Nintendo, but at least sometimes with Nintendo, they'll sneak one in that you don't have a clue about. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, by the way, it's out next month. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
So,
and that's amazing, though, isn't it? With anything, not just like with games. If something gets announced really short notice, you're like, oh, when it's out? It's out like in a month's time. You're like, what? That's an amazing feeling. Oh, I don't have to wait that long.
Yeah.
I think where stuff's leaked so bad, isn't it? Where stuff gets leaked, it's so like, and obviously we're speaking about something, I don't know, like gaming convention stuff later, but where everything it's getting announced. Like, I think someone in the comments has said it about publishers, and it's trying to get their product out there. But I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's what the problem is. It's like if you've got something in the works and there's a big gaming event where everyone's going to put their best foot forward, like that, this is what we've got coming this year. You've got no choice. You've got to say, well, we've got this like big release coming up. So I think they're kind of a bit backed into a corner with that. They have no choice but to make big announcements at those particular points in the year.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo kind of get away with it. I don't know why, because they announced Metroid Prime 4, but all they did was just show you a logo, and you were like, yes,
but
yes, I'm in, and that was fucking years ago.
But they have come out and said that they thought it was basically shit, so they started again. Yeah, and so that's why you're waiting so long, because they looked at it. This ain't up to standard. Sorry, in comes a whole new team, and do you know what I mean? For someone to do that is, do you know what I mean? That's massive.
It is, and that is huge. But I think even if it was the same team and it was just taking forever to develop, because all they did was just say Metroid Prime
It's a
4,
logo. Yeah.
and that's it. There's no gameplay.
Yeah.
There's no little trailer. There's no animation of Samus doing something.
Oh, I
It
love
was
that game.
just, but things with like Starfield and stuff. There's a full animation video showing this spaceman getting into a ship and the ship taking off, and you're like, holy fuck, what is this? And now you
Yeah.
have something to run off. So it's
Yeah.
maybe it's a mixture of don't announce things too early, and if you are going to announce it, maybe just announce the name and a bit
Yeah, do
about
a
what it can
tease,
be,
yeah.
and then just back away into the mist. You've planted the seed,
Mm.
and you're just sort of walking around. Yeah. Okie dokie. So running off of an Xbox exclusive game, this will bring us quite neatly onto the next topic, which I think for physical media collectors is a big one, certainly for me, and that was the Xbox crash of 2022. For anyone that isn't aware, Microsoft had a big outage a month ago, maybe a bit longer, where basically anything online, so any of their online services, games with gold, Game Pass, anything like that, you couldn't access the games. But it also extended to any games that you had purchased digitally. So it didn't matter if you paid for it, you couldn't access it. You could only play physical games, and it was a bit of a thing. It was a bit of a thing over the weekend that it happened on, or over the couple of days that it happened on, and understandably, people were pretty angry about it. I think with the online services and stuff, you're going to expect that it's going to happen because the internet is the internet, and shit happens. But the big kicker for me, I thought, was anyone that purchased something digitally. You've just gone onto the Xbox Live, I don't know if it's called Arcade anymore, or wherever it is, to buy your games. You bought it, you expect to be able to play it. So I think, as we were saying just before we came on, I think Blunt, as you sort of said it, and I think it'd be a good discussion point to run with, is if you buy something digitally, do you actually own it? And I think the answer is now proven is no.
I think that's the.
Sorry, especially with what's happening with like the Wii U shop and the 3DS shop. Like, your file data now corrupts. All that money you've spent, you've got no chance of getting it back. So do you even own it?
So I think things have shifted from like the digital download to the subscription service, because if you're paying for a subscription service, you're paying for the service, you're not buying the game. So if I pay for that subscription, I have access to the library. As soon as I stop paying for that subscription, I lose access to that library. And I think that's the agreement you're going into. So that's slightly different. I think that's probably a better deal. But also, that service could just disappear. At any point, that the company providing it could go bust or get sold, or something could happen, and it could all crash, and you don't have it. So yeah, in that sense, you don't really own the games. You just own. You pay to use a service. Whereas like digitally downloading your games and then losing access to them, that's a real kicker, isn't it? It does look like we're starting to see that happen in some instances. So yeah, it is.
It's worrying, because there's a lot of people that are digital players. I mean, I know my son's a PC gamer, but PC is very geared around digital now, and I know Microsoft are really sort of heading in that direction. I know Sony now with with the new PS Plus service that they're trying to bring to the table. That's it's certainly heading in that direction. But I'm just wondering if there's going to be companies that will look at things like this and just think, I don't know, is there still a place for physical media other than for dickheads like me, like collecting it and buying it and having it as a physical collection? Just because it's nice to have it. But people have always argued, if I buy it and I've got the disc, I own it. And yeah, okay, so there's going to be patches and updates and all this kind of crap. So you never actually own necessarily a complete game. But at least you own a game.
Yeah, I do like some of the stuff Reg has been putting in, like saying that Steam has a 2-week offline mode, and that he's saying that like Steam said they would release a code so it can work full offline. So I can understand, and it's weird to think when the Xbox One first came out, and this is what Microsoft were trying to push with Kinect and everything like that. Like everything, you put your TV through here now as well. They were trying to go all that way, and everyone was against it. And then it slowly changed to like most people buy all the stuff digitally. I know, like some obviously, if you've got sometimes I've had to, if there's like some deals you can't get them physically. Do you know what I mean? Like some of them deals sometimes
Yeah.
it's
I,
just worth a couple of quid, isn't it? So
I
Definitely.
think I quite like having both. Just having both. Have
yeah,
a subscription service where, like, okay, I'm going to get the bulk of my gaming from a library of games for a subscription, and then going out and buying, your favorite stuff. Or, like, there's definitely with retro things, buying your things like the Evercade. Great example. You're going to be buying your physical cartridges. It looks nice up on your shelf, and you've got it then, and you own it. And then having a subscription service for all your other stuff. And I think it's just having that differentiation. Knowing the difference between the two and knowing what you're getting into. But yeah, I think if you're purely buying digital downloads, I suppose you run a bit of a risk. I suppose the difference as well is how much you're paying for it. If you're buying a digital copy, a lot of the time it's a new game. The digital copy is the same price as the physical release. It's like, well,
Yeah.
why is that? The digital copy should be, in my opinion, considerably cheaper than the physical release.
people
Completely
do
agree.
people do a lot of sharing though, don't they? Like, say if you share accounts, say your account's on your
Yeah, you
brother's
can do that.
Xbox
Yeah,
and yours isn't. So a lot of them, in theory, they'll go halves on it and they'll
go
both
ask me. Yeah.
download it. Yeah, and it's so there is loopholes around it, but
Mm.
it's also another way of I've used it in the past if she's not listening, but bought stuff so the missus doesn't know I've got it either. So it's just good. It's good ways as well. So I ain't got
You
to
don't
hide
have
the physical
to
disc.
post, what did you buy? What did you
Yeah,
buy?
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
Nothing
no.
comes through the door. She doesn't see you come home with a receipt and all that stuff. It's yeah, it has its bonuses. I don't know. It's just a weird one. Like for me, the person that just bangs on about physical media and that I can't let it go. I like it. It makes it feels like gaming to me. For me, this was sort of almost like validation. Like, yeah, there we go. See, the digital era. It's great when it wants to be, but imagine if that had been like a week or
Yeah.
3 or 4 days even.
You
Like
just,
that.
I mean,
Just
the thing is, a lot of people have more than one console, don't they? So nowadays, if your Xbox is off, okay, I'll play on PlayStation.
it's
I'll
true. Unless you're one of
play on
those
the
elite,
Switch.
unless you're one of those like crazy elitists who are like, no, I'm Team Xbox or I'm Team PlayStation only. The other one sucks. So, but yeah,
I
but
don't.
yeah,
You can't beat the physical copy. I don't care what anyone
Yeah.
says. Physically holding, like someone's put on the big box PC games. Do you know what I mean? You cannot beat that. Like, especially back in the day when we were growing up. And
Yeah.
I never forget taking my son to get Mario Odyssey day one, and the lady couldn't give it to him. She had to give it to me because it was 7. So I literally just went, "There you go, you can have it," and let him open it in front of her anyway. But then it was like the fact that like having a box game in his hand, that shrink
Yeah.
wrapped and open it, and it's just you can't beat that.
No, it's
You
that
can't beat that.
enjoyment, isn't it? I know we've said it
Yeah,
before, but the going to somewhere to get the item, that's where my enjoyment starts. And certainly as a kid, like when you knew you were going somewhere to get a new video game, that that was it. You were hyped in the
yeah,
car. You were always going to town, which would be like a 20-minute car journey. Then you'd get
yeah.
to the game shop. Yeah, you can't beat a
You
physical
can't beat
media
it.
So
experience.
I think one of my favourite game cases I got on that journey home was when I got Baldur's Gate on the PC, because it was a big box game and it had, I think, 8
Yeah.
discs. And it's just going through. It's like, whoa, there's so many discs. And I was like, whoa, and I just look at the price, like, why is there so many game discs? It was crazy. I
Yeah.
suppose like most of them were just used to install the game. You're like constantly swapping up the disc while you installed it. Yeah, that was a good one. Just having that little stack of game. It was like a little folder that was like a cardboard case that rolled out, sort of thing, across. So it was all like one big long stretch of discs. It's like, when you get those like collector's editions now of like DVD box sets. It was like one of those, but just for Baldur's Gate on the PC.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Good
Yeah.
times. Good
Yeah.
times. So sliding on to our next topic, mainly because I think the last topic is going to be probably what we'll sort of chit chat about for a little bit. So the next one we'll cover very quickly is E3. Is it ever going to happen again? So we've had a couple of years where E3 hasn't happened due to COVID. To be fair, I totally even forgot E3 time was now this year because we've just had a couple of years without it. I just don't think there's a place for it anymore. I think where so many companies like Nintendo have backed out of E3 years ago and they just do their Nintendo Directs throughout the year. People know when they're happening. People can tune in and watch them when they want to. So many games companies do their own, Sony do State of Play and Xbox do, I can't remember what Xbox one's called, but they do them throughout the year. It just kind of feels like you just don't need E3 to show it off anymore. So many people can just watch this from their living room. And I was watching a new podcast called Nontendo, the Nontendo podcast, which has a YouTuber called Beat 'em Ups and another YouTuber, I can't remember his name, who they do sort of exclusively Nintendo content. And they were chatting about E3 and how one of them, when he was a much smaller YouTuber, got offered, do you want to come out to E3 and represent Nintendo and, see all the games and stuff? And of course, he's like, yeah, absolutely. Of course he did. But he got there and was just treated really badly because he's a small YouTuber, and because no one really knew who he wasn't allowed into any of these, big reveals and all these big game showcases. And it was only because he was there with Metal Jesus that people let him into things. And he was like, this is really pointless. Like, what's the point of only allowing the big media press into this thing? Like, the small media press have got an audience as well. And he just said after that, he's just, when they said, oh yeah, E3's not happening again, he's like, good, it's crap. Like, you don't support anybody other than the big people.
It's, I don't know, it's I'm pretty mixed on it really, because I used to love, like, you knew when E3 was rolling around and you'd look to see what was being shown at what times, and like I would stay up and make sure I'd like try and catch as much as I could, and just it was all just crammed into like that weekend, and I always thought that was a pretty good experience. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have gone, but to be honest, would you actually be able to get anywhere or see anything anyway? But I think just the experience alone, it was always a bit gutting, because obviously it's always in America, and I know our versions is in Germany, but I don't know. I would have loved to have gone just for the experience, really, especially because I know like certain companies do go all out and they'll merch up whatever game they're trying to push all around. So I do miss that. But like in regards to like how PlayStation and Nintendo have been going with their own like directs and their own like plays, it's better for them, because in theory it's literally just trailer. Do you know what I mean? They're just pumping it out and they have someone talking in between quickly, and they can release the information they want to like pretty quick. Whereas this isn't being all held up for 1 year, being shown in like a little presentation, and then never, like, not like you say, not seen for a while again. Whereas this would be a bit of a way of like hiding things and showing them later, what we were talking about earlier. But I don't know. I did love a little press conference, and when he come out, and he's got the GTA 5 logo on his arm, and he So
there's definitely some good memories of E3. I think it was an event. It just kind of feels like that event has kind of, I don't know, has the moment been and gone? It's like Comic-Con. Everyone still goes to Comic-Con. Comic-Con is this huge experience, and I think E3's, the thing that they should never have done was let the public in. It was always just this mystical event, and then that year that they let the public in, it was just a shit show, because you just had so many people there, and where there's a will, there's a way. There's people getting into things that they shouldn't be getting into, experiencing things, probably leaking things. It's like, they should just never have let the public in. It should just have always been this exclusive thing for, press, developers to showcase the best things possible, and then let them showcase it to us as well. Because, like you say, we get Gamescom in Germany we can go to. We used to get Eurogamer, which I think is called EGX now over here. I don't know if that's still going. It's been so long since I've been to a game convention. It's a weird one. I'm kind of thinking that I don't think E3's gonna happen again, or certainly not in the format that we're used to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it will happen. It will carry on, but I think it will just maybe be a watered down thing. I just don't think it's going to have the same clout that it did. But especially, like say, if Nintendo and then PlayStation go off and do their own things, it will probably still exist in some format or another, but it'll probably be a bit watered down format. Like, so I wonder if they'll continue to do like online events, or certainly press only. I think there's other things that will probably step up a bit more and fill that void, because I think there's still like a demand for it, isn't there? There's still a fan base, there's still an audience for that sort of thing. I think perhaps other things will fill that void a bit more.
Well, let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. But E3, it's a real shame that it's kind of become what it's become, and it's where it's at. Real shame, because yeah, I agree with Blunners. It was a real event. Right. The topic, the one that most of the other people in Retro Gaming Revival have been able to talk about. I know Ryan talked about it on Everchat the other day. There's a lot of people talking about it at the moment, and that is the Evercade EXP. Blaze announcing a couple of days ago that they had a big announcement. People were sort of debating: is it going to be a new cartridge? Is it going to be this, announcement that there's this big developer that they've been working with, or like a new studio that's going to bring out this crazy cart that everyone's been thinking about? Because my brain did not immediately go to new handheld console. My brain immediately went to, as I've been saying all the time, my brain went to something like doing a Konami cart, doing Simpsons arcade game, or them, going somewhere really bizarre, something they've spent a lot of time working on. So for me, the new console was a bit of a curveball. I don't know what you guys thought the announcement was going to be.
Are you able to get any pictures up on screen of it?
I can definitely
Yeah,
have a look. There we go.
Well,
I'll let you guys chat while I find this.
I don't know whether obviously I'll go first because Tim's more of an
go for
Evercade man than I am.
I don't mind. I can. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, because then obviously because you know a bit more about the system. I'm not. I've never really been bought into the Evercade. Like you said, I love the idea. I love the concept of it. I only ever played. I've had a quick go on Ryan's and a quick go on yours. It was just the fact that it was just constant with the carts. I thought, but this EX, and I remember when we did say about it, I said in our little group chat, I said, "What about an Evercade Mini? Or it'd be a mini version, but as a joke." But I do like the look of this. And other people have said it doesn't look retro enough, and which, to be honest, they're right. It doesn't look retro enough, and I think they're trying to appeal to some other. Cause I think they've got their core retro group, and I think they're trying to appeal to some other concepts. I love the bit how it will tilt on the side and play. What do they call it?
That is pretty cool.
Tape mode, do they call it? I do like the concept of that. But but the stuff that it's got with it, so it's got USB-C, 4 gigs of RAM. I think it said it was. Wi-Fi and a better screen, but in 2022, this is standard. That's standard. Do you know what I mean? That's standard. So I'm a bit confused about I know it's double. I think I've heard someone say the other day it's double the price of the original one. So
these are those.
Yeah, there you go.
These are those features you were saying. So we've got USB-C, which is a mini HDMI out, Wi-Fi built in, which is a big thing, 4 to 5 hours of battery life as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and mini HDMI out. So it's got but I think the price point's a bit of a. What was it, £130 for the white version?
130 for the white one. I think there's 180 for the limited edition, but I think the limited edition comes with a few extra bits.
Yeah, I said I do like the look of it, and I think it does look really good. And I love the idea of the tape mode, but I like some of the other guys who are more Evercade than I am. I think a lot of them are right. I think they're all hoping for it to be to be games, and that's what they want. They want more games. You're finding a lot of people are selling up at the minute and trying to. And to be honest, if there's not enough content, or if there's not enough stuff actually coming out on the system, that's what people are going to do, aren't they? But I do like the look of it, and it does look good. It's something I might look to in the future. Yeah, something I might look to in the future. But
well, I think the only thing that puts me off getting one is that I've already got an Evercade. So is it worth spending 130 quid for another one? There's collectors out there that want to get everything Evercade. They've probably got their VS and their Evercade, and they also brought out the purple limited edition one as well. So it's a lot to bring out in the space of a year or 2 years. They brought out a lot of different hardware. I think that looking at it objectively, that first Evercade, mine's fine, but a lot of people had issues with it. There's issues with like the cartridges getting stuck, issues with the screen, like dust behind the screen, lines across the screen, things crashing. And they've discontinued that original model. They brought this out, so it makes sense. This addresses loads of the complaints that people had. So if this works and works nicely, which at that price point you'd expect it to, it's got a nicer screen. It has a nice tilt feature, which I do think looks cool. I do think they are sort of answering the call a bit of what people wanted. So credit to that. I think they are actually addressing a lot of stuff with this. The thing that puts me off of it a little bit is the price point, because that was the biggest hook for me to get the Evercade. It's like, it's not that much. It's worth a punt. I wasn't sort of massively like, oh, I really, really want this thing. I was like, yeah, it looks all right, and it's not that expensive. And the cartridges have always been really good value for money. Now, it's not saying that this isn't also good value for money. It's just it's more expensive price point than the earlier model. That's probably because of the actual hardware itself. It's just more's gone into it. It's going to be more expensive to produce. So yeah, I think it looks cool. I think if someone hasn't got an Evercade yet and you're thinking about getting one, this could be where you get started with it. I think that would be a really cool thing to do, and I'd love to actually have a go and see one. But I mentioned before we went live, the only way I might get one is if I sold my original one to offset the cost a bit. So I could offset the cost by getting, because I don't think I need two. See people in the chat. I've ordered two already. I'm not the kind of person that needs two Evercades, to be up on my mantle. But yeah, I could sell my original one to get one of these new ones and offset the cost. I might wait until it's been out for a while, see if someone's selling it and get it second hand and offset the cost a bit. Don't know. Yeah, mixed. I think it's had some mixed reactions, which I think are fair. I think there's some negatives to it, but all in all, I think as far as announcements go, it's a pretty good announcement. New console, new feature. I think for the difference in price, just for you can tilt on its side, and to be fair, it does look nicer. It looks a lot smarter. So
it's a weird one for me, because I when I went away on holiday recently, I actually took my Evercade with me. I normally will take my Switch or my 3DS, something like that. I normally take. I very rarely will take my Evercade sort of traveling with me. Normally because I'm playing a game on one of those other systems, but where I'm sort of currently not, I thought, I've got the new Gremlin cartridge. I'm gonna take my Evercade and Indie Heroes and just take it away and see if I use it. And I did, quite a bit in the evenings when my kids are asleep, my wife's reading a book or something. I was like, well, I'm gonna play some games, and I actually got a really good amount of use out of my handheld. But as I'm playing it, and this was before I knew the announcement, what it was, as I'm playing the handheld, the thing that was frustrating me the most is just how it kind of feels. It feels very light, and it feels about what you pay for the original Evercade. You get it for, what is it, like 70 quid or something with the cartridge or whatever, and it feels about that. It feels about that quality of build. As soon as you sort of turn it, that's it. You can't really see a lot. Tilt it any other direction, you can't really see much. Not that people play their games like that or anything like this. You generally hold it in front of your face. But there's that original Evercade, I think, and to some extent the VS as well. It's got impulse buy about it. Certainly the original handheld for me definitely has an impulse buy factor to it, being that price point, which we've said a few times now. This, for me anyway, from the way that it looks, I've left it up on the screen there, it looks like a high-end device personally. It looks much more expensive, and the fact that it's got an IPS screen is great because it needs it. That original screen is fine, but having a really bright IPS screen, which you can then slightly move it off center a little bit, and it's not going to alter your viewing angles, it's not going to blur or distort, that's great. The buttons look immediately better to me. The X, A, X, Y, A, B buttons, they look so much better than they do on the current handheld. The D-pad still looks the same, but there's nothing particularly wrong with the Evercade D-pad. I know some people prefer their D-pads to be a bit more clicky. Given the types of games that I play on the Evercade, I prefer it to be a bit more fluid. And then the mode, turning it vertical to play shooters, and then having the two new A/B buttons down the side there, that's a great idea. And I do think that is a really good idea, purely because there's everyone's doing mini consoles, aren't they? There's now mini arcade machines, and I can't remember which company it is that's made. If anyone in the chat knows, there's a mini arcade machine that does this very thing. You push the screen in and you rotate it, click it back in, and it's a vertical screen.
Yes, I know the one. Yeah.
Tato, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's the Tato thing.
But that's so cool, and I thought, oh man, that's a really cool idea. Why don't handheld consoles do that? And then clearly Evercade or Blaze have had to think about it and gone, maybe people want this for shooters. Like, yeah, absolutely, people are going to want this for shooters. The additional 2 shoulder buttons, so now it's very much like the VS controller. You got your extra shoulder buttons on the top. The more I've had time to sort of think about it and look at it and watch a few videos on it, dive into what other people have been thinking about it as well, like I would like one a lot. I would love to review one. Like Blaze, if you want to if you want to throw one at us, a very small channel who talk a lot of Evercade, and I think we're quite behind you as a company now as well. I know we had a rocky start, but it's got to get the pitch in there, man.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I would negative Ollie. I would I'd love to have a go on one, and I would love to see firsthand how much of an upgrade this is, because the price point is, we're getting into that higher end market now. £130 is it's not an impulse buy anymore. And I know the VS is £109, but for £109, that's an actual console you can plug into your TV, 2 controllers, 2 cartridges. The price starts becoming worth it. So I'd love to try one. I really would. I'd absolutely love to have a bash on one and see how much of a difference it makes. Because if it really does make a difference, like you guys have said already, there's a lot of very pro Evercade people who will probably get one anyway. Like you said, people have bought 2. But there'll be some fence sitters like me who have, I've got an Evercade. I waited a long time for some of those gripes to be fixed, which they fixed with the original handheld. I really like the VS. So there'll be fence sitters like me who'd be thinking, do I really need to upgrade my handheld? So yeah, I want to try it.
I think the screen, the screen will make such a difference. It will be it will literally be night and day from the screen resolution difference. It has that. It does look like it's a premium quality. Actually has like a premium look to it. 130 quid though, for me as a non-Evercade like gamer, to me it's too much for me. Like, because the stuff that comes with it, I would think would be standard nowadays anyway. You think for nearly just over double the price, you're on Steam Deck price. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
I think the question I was always asked myself when it comes to price stuff is, what else could I get for that amount of money?
Yeah.
And that's things like 130 quid. There's quite a few options there of things you can get. And especially if you're looking at handhelds, there's a lot of handheld consoles that come with like pre-built-in games that are really good quality for that sort of price. So it just depends what you're looking for. I think it's like, I don't think it's too expensive. I think the price is high enough to stop and think about it a bit longer. Like I say, it's not in that impulse buy area anymore. It's more of a, do I really want that before I decide to drop 130 quid on it?
But like Crazy Burger says here, there's vertical shooters on the handheld. You'll need the new one. They'll be unplayable on the old ones.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Playing any vertical shooter in a very small screen that's not designed to be vertically challenged. That's a kicker, and that's gonna push people, because there's vertical shooters and shmups and all that kind of stuff. That is a hardcore like fan group of people. So I think if they're going to start releasing a lot of shoot 'em ups and stuff on the Evercade, or more of them, then yeah, that's definitely going to push people want that newer system, something that has been designed to do, which is pretty cool. But I think someone said, yeah, wait for the reviews to come in, and like, Blaze, come on, give us, let's have a go. Let's see if we can get an early review out there. Like I said, I would love to have a go. I would absolutely love to have a go on one. see what it's like, see what it is like. And there were some new cartridges. I did a screenshot of the video because I think we got copyright strike the last time we showed a video, even though we showed the official video for what it was. So what were some of the new arcade cartridges? So the Jellicoe arcade cartridge I know has already been announced. The Gallico, is that Gallico? Yeah, Arcade 2, IREM Arcade 1, and Top Plan Arcade 1.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea they were coming out. So unless that was sort of part of the announcement that I missed as well while I was away, which is very possible, I was like, oh, okay. So there's a tease of some new cartridges. There's, promise of some other cool arcade games coming, because that is the main reason I got really interested in Evercade, was when they said at the beginning, we're going to be releasing some of the arcade versions of things, and now they are, which is great. Yeah.
I just think I think most people wanted that absolute killer, like company that they were going to get carts for. And I think a few of them were a bit underwhelmed with it, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, an upgraded system, better screen, showing Wi-Fi built in to updates, you ain't got to keep plugging in cables and stuff. So
yeah, it is literally what the fans asked for. It is literally what the Evercade community has been almost screaming for. We want a better handheld. They've made it.
Yeah.
So hopefully it delivers, and hopefully it'd be good. They're limited to. Are they limiting all the systems to 5,000 or just the black ones?
I think it was the special ones on it.
Yeah, that's
just the black
180
one. Yeah.
With a key ring. Oh yeah, do you reckon that's worth it?
An extra.
Depends, doesn't it? It comes
extra
with a couple
50 quid
of
for a keyring. That's an expensive keyring if that's what you get differently.
Does it come with a couple of cartridges as well?
Yeah.
I'm sure it came with a couple of bits, because I always thought the VS Founders Edition was kind of worth the money. You get, what was it, like all 4 arcade cartridges. I've only got 2. An extra, what was it, the Intellivision cartridge and Bitmap Brothers cartridge, and then it came with some steel books, and it was the black console was a bit more limited. Like, I kind of felt like that was slightly justified.
I'm quite happy with my purchase of the VS Founders. Like I said, the amount of cartridges that came with, 2 controllers. You got your name in the Founders credits and stuff, and had a few extra little like poster and keyring, all that sort of stuff that came with it. It was a good price for what you got. Definitely.
Did you put your name down as Triangle Face or Tim Morgan, or did you put it down as?
Do you know what I did? I don't know why I did this. I think it was because I was filling in a form. I put my name down as Timothy Morgan. It's like I never. I don't know why. Why did I do that? I don't know. I was filling in the form. I put down Timothy Morgan, and then it's okay. I was like, why did I put down
Mister?
Yeah, Mr. Timothy Morgan, Timothy John Morgan. I don't know why. I should have put Tim Morgan or a little triangle face, but can't edit that now. Live and learn.
Shocking.
Brilliant.
Excellent. But yeah, all in all, it's an interesting one. I know there's a lot of people on each side of the argument. I like to think that we sort of weave in and around that kind of those different people. I think we're quite objective. I don't think we're particularly super pro or super negative. I think we generally I think most of us are the same. We like consoles, we like games. I like licensed games, and I'm just all for new systems. I'm all for new games, and there's the market's never too crowded to have another console. So let's just see what happens with this one. Let's see how it runs. So on to our last little flurry of topics, of which I'll have to read from another screen because I had to write them down. PS Plus games and Games with Gold games for June 2022. Let's go with the Games with Gold because I always feel like they're not as good.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're never as good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if you definitely agree with that. PlayStation always kind of have the much bigger titles coming out of that.
So Games with Gold.
On Game Pass.
It is, exactly. Game Pass is a great deal. So Games with Gold, your free games if you pay for your £6 or £7 a month Xbox Gold subscription is Avon Colony, Project High Rise, the Architects Edition, which I've never heard of either of those two. Super Meat Boy, which is
that's
absolutely fantastic platforming game, and Rascals, which I have also never heard of. So I don't know if anyone has played any of those, because I have no idea.
Super Meat Boy I have, but no, not the other three.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy is the best of the bunch out of that. And it's also, when you look at the actual pricing that they put on the value of it, it's also, oh no, Rascals is slightly cheaper.
Well, bargain
But
bin.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, Super Meat Boy is that's a cracker. That's definitely
Yeah.
worth it. So if you have Xbox subscription, games with gold and all that kind of stuff, get on that. And PlayStation announced theirs, and PlayStation Plus games for June. I think these are going to be available from the 7th of June.
Yeah, looks like it.
It is God of War, the new God of War, which is a faultless game.
yeah.
Naruto to Boruto, which I have no idea what that is. Oh, sorry, Naruto to Boruto,
Naruto, yeah.
Shinobi
It's the,
Striker, which
a cartoon, isn't it? That Naruto.
it's from.
An
Oh yeah,
anime, isn't
Naruto is a
Yeah.
So I'm presuming that's an anime football game.
And there's one from Tim. Tim's got the next one, I think.
No.
Yeah.
If you don't know Naruto, basically Naruto, I've had it best described as Harry Potter but with ninjas. That's what Naruto is. So if that sounds appealing to you, go check out Naruto. One of those animes that just never ends. It's got so many hundreds and hundreds of episodes. It's a very long-running anime series. So I presume it's going to be a fighting game. I can't see much of the screenshots; just shows characters, but most likely a fighting game or an action RPG.
Okay.
I'd imagine.
Interesting.
Yeah, anime fighting game.
So it's maybe like, oh, it sounds like a football game. It's like, no, they're ninjas.
Yeah,
but it's a striker, Shinobi Striker. I figured that.
To be fair, Dave, you just
striking with a knife.
It does sound like a football game, but I just thought that was funny that
Shocking.
Naruto is a thing. Yeah. Anyway, then we've got Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl.
Yeah.
I don't know when that came out. I don't think that's that old a game. I can remember seeing that teased not that long ago. Surely, I don't know when that game originally came out, but. Yeah, that looks pretty. I mean, I'm a big fan of Super Smash Brothers, and this looks, even just looking at the front cover, you've got Reptar from Rugrats. You've got Powdered Toast Man from Ren and Stimpy. I think he's probably going to be one of my first picks to play. You've got some of the creatures from Our Real Monsters, and you've got Turtles, SpongeBob. Like, that's going to be a nuts game. I'm definitely going to have a go on that.
Yeah. It just always seems to be PlayStation for just their regular service people. They always pull out these really good games. To give to people.
And I'd never played that. I remember when that God of War first came out, people were raving about it. I'd never played it. And that looks excellent. I'm just definitely going to. Do you know what, as well? I've got a PlayStation, I can't remember what they were called, the PlayStation Gold headphones. And you've actually got an app that comes with it that you download onto the PlayStation. And there's preset audio modes, so you can play things in horror. So if you're playing like a horror game, I've got it for like horror games in VR, so you can do things where like jump scares automatically turn the volume up and things like that. And there's some really cool like tweaked profiles. There is a God of War profile for the PlayStation Gold headset. So, so I definitely check that out. I'll make sure I've got it on that setting when I play it and see what that 100%. Does. I don't know what it's supposed to do, but it could be interesting.
I think it's God of War's been out for ages now, so I don't think this counts as a spoiler. Not talking about the story. The thing that blew me away about that game the most is its one take. Never cuts away. The camera angle never does like a cut to different angles. The camera just moves around, and it constantly do things, and then two people have a conversation, and the camera will just move around to show you the conversation. So the whole game is one take.
Nice.
If you had the time and the commitment to just sit there and solidly play it all the way through, you could do. I mean, it'd take you forever, but you could do. I just thought that was absolutely. It was such a cool idea. And it was only sort of halfway through the game. I was like, "Fuck, this is still one take." Like, oh my god,
wow,
what a cool idea.
Yeah,
so if you just do a quick side-by-side comparison of what PlayStation have given you this month versus what Xbox have, God of War, Naruto,
Xbox wins
All-Star Brawl versus like Super Meat Boy and the Skull thing and those other two like city building games. Like, no comparison, really, is it? I'm definitely going to play God of War, and all the PlayStation ones I'm definitely going to play. I can't say I'll definitely play the Xbox ones. I might just download them and move on. But
I'll definitely download Super Meat Boy. I think Crazy Burger said that he was pretty sure that Super Meat Boy's already been in games with gold already. But
it might be wrong. Yeah, I think that it might have been, or maybe a version of it. There's multiple versions of it, isn't there?
I think there is. There's lots of physical versions. 100% cannot wait for Ragnarok.
Yeah,
100%.
same there.
That it's such a hype game though, that one, isn't it? It's like that God of War game was so good that any sequel that is just anything less is going to be a tough sell. That's going to be a real hard sell. But hopefully that'd be really, really good. Literally can't wait for that. Okie dokie, chaps. We have reached the end of our stuff. We've managed to speed through some of those topics as we've had a month off from what's happening in the gaming world, and that's still not everything that's happened. Hopefully, if we manage to get one in maybe at the end of the month, beginning of July, we can do a roundup of everything that's sort of, because even though E3 isn't happening, people are announcing games, they're throwing gameplay footage out there left, right, and center at the minute. So maybe we'll have a little roundup of, you know, the soft E3 releases that everybody has talked about, and sort of pull together some of our highlights and see what everybody's been excited for.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you to everyone that's joined this evening. I know it's the Jubilee celebrations are ongoing, so people are probably out getting smashed in the name of the Queen. Bless you, Tim. So it's appreciated that people have tuned in live for us this evening. Hopefully, a few people can catch it at a later date. And thank you very much, chaps, for joining me as always. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. So thank you, everybody. Unless anybody has anything else they want to cover quickly, or there was, motherfuckers, there was that one thing before I disappeared because someone mentioned horror. So it's going to run maybe the extra 5 minutes. Bonus footage. The screenshots that were supposedly from, and I'm not going to put them up because I don't want to get striked for whatever reason. Screenshots of a Silent Hill game that were in development kept getting removed, which made everybody go, well, there must be some truth to this then, because if this is getting copyright stricken and people are being told to remove them, then there must be some truth to these screenshots, and they look pretty cool. There's absolutely zero context to any of them. You can't see like the village. There's no sort of walking around the town where all the fog is or anything like that. It looks like it looks very much like PT, if I'm totally honest. There's I can describe the images.
I'm trying to look it up now.
I'll show you once we come off, but I will describe the images. So the first image sort of looks it looks a bit like it could have come from Resident Evil Village. It's a room that's all decayed. There's bins everywhere. There's a cot in the corner. It's just really dirty. It looks a bit like a crack den.
I know.
Another, yeah. There's another one that looks like a hallway, possibly in like a block of flats or something, and there's just post-it notes littering the walls, and they've all got really quite nasty things written on them. There's things like prevail and fat female dog and all this kind of stuff just everywhere. It looks pretty nasty. And then there was another one that was just like a group of those shots with I'm presuming it might just be like a showing off a texture of like one of the characters' faces or something. But someone rumored that the game's set in London, which kind of intrigued me because it's but it's meant to be set in Silent Hill. How are we going to connect this to Silent Hill then? I know they've tried to do that before, where they've kind of come away from the actual town, like Silent Hill 4: The Room. I think it was originally going to be another game, and then it became a Silent Hill game. You have to crawl through like a hole, and then you end up in Silent Hill, which is a really weird concept. But yeah, so after all this time, all these rumors, there might genuinely, yes, like most of our flats, there might genuinely be a new Silent Hill game on the horizon.
Oh, mate.
After all this time.
Amazing.
And then, of course, all the rumor mills kick in that apparently Konami are running 2 different Silent Hill projects. So I guess much like Resident Evil, they must have, if this is true, that is, they must have seen the success that Capcom have had with remaking Resi 2, Resi 3. They're remaking Resi 4 now, whilst continuing the mainline franchise as well. And supposedly that is what Konami have kind of gone, yeah, I want a bit of that. So they're doing a new Silent Hill game, and supposedly they're remaking Silent Hill, but with new game engine, which of course I am 100% in for. So yeah,
Unreal
there we go.
5.
Oh, I'd love it. Silent
Everything,
Hill.
everything,
Oh,
everything.
just at this point,
Silent Hill.
any horror experiences I want to have in VR. After playing Resident Evil 7, it's
mate.
like if you're gonna
No
try and
way.
scare the
How
crap
did
out of
you-
me, stick it in VR. It's just nuts. But
Amazing.
yeah, I'd love to play a Silent Hill game in VR. That would
Yeah.
that would
And
be an experience. That's not just a game, then, is it? That's an experience.
There needs to be a new Silent Hill game. It's been too long, far too long. The memories are great. The games after Silent Hill 3 get a bit ropey. It's just such a good franchise. Why sit on it? Make something, sell it, give it to someone who
I
cares.
think we need a series. Yeah, we need a series of Ryan playing Resident Evil in VR to see how long he lasts.
Yes, we do. If I've got to play
No,
Premier
no.
Manager for whatever
Yeah,
reason, then
you've got
Ryan's got to play.
Dorks
Yeah,
and Final
Ryan's-
Fantasy.
I was just going to say, get
Yes.
George 3 Final Fantasy, get Ryan to play VR Resident Evil. So get me to play some sort of football management game.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Tim can play the same Premier Manager game, and we'll see whose team come out on top at the end of the
Yeah.
season.
Sounds riveting.
So there we go.
Yeah,
Throwing that in
you'd
right,
hate it.
throwing in that the Silent Hill curveball right in at the end there.
Amazing.
Excellent,
Oh, mate.
chaps. Thank you so much again, as always. I'm not sure what the next stream is. I could promote it if I knew it. Is there one next
Sure,
week?
we'll be
Sure.
doing something next week.
Is
Sure
there
we
something
will
next
be.
week? Oh well, I'll get a
Keep-
text from
keep an eye
Ryan.
on
but
We'll be
maybe-
around. Keep an eye on Facebook and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see what we've got coming up. I'm sure we'll be back soon.
Beautiful. Nicely thrown in there, Tim. Excellent. Beautiful. Right. Thanks ever so much, guys.
Right.
Thank you everyone in the chat for sticking around, and we will see you next time.